Hello viewers and welcome back to our pre-release coverage of Dominion's 4 Thrones of Ascension. Once again, we will be taking a look at another portion of the game. This time I think we'll be taking a look at more on the magic side of things now that we've covered the basics of the game in our Abyssian introduction. And if you haven't seen that, I recommend you guys check that out. So, let's begin by setting up another middle-age game. We're going to have 4 different players this time, and we are going to take a look at Man, the Tower of Avalon. Last time we took out Abyssia, which was a faction that were like lava. Yeah, they were lava-born humanoids, which radiated heat, so they were really good with heavy infantry, but they didn't have a lot of ranged attacks. We are going to pretty much take a look at one of the contrasting factions, which is going to be Man, the Tower of Avalon, which is a feudal kingdom of humans. They have powerful knights, good longbowmen. Their priests are, and their magic users are alright. They're not the best, not the worst, and in general it'll be a different playstyle from what we've seen last game. I don't believe I've talked about the Disciple game yet, and essentially what this is that in Dominions 3, you had diplomacy inside the multiplayer portion of the game, which was essentially you and somebody else sending messages to each other, and then you could essentially gang up on people like, say, hey, Yellow is growing really strong, why don't we both take him on at the same time, right? But the premise of the game was that, well, you play as essentially a demigod, and you have to become a full god by either eliminating everybody, and in this Dominions 4 you can also capture all the Thrones of Ascension. So like in Dominions 3, what I would imagine happening is that at the end of the game, I mean, either way you're going to have to take down all of your allies at the beginning of the game, simply because only one person can win. So inside this, you get some real team play where you can essentially designate one person as a team captain who has the demigod and other people as disciples, which will essentially just carry out the might of the demigod, really. And that way, multiple people can win. Yay! So, Man, the Tower of Avalon was a feudal kingdom. They have a lot of nature magic and air magic, and they have a lot of longbowmen and knights and stuff and such like that. You guys can read all this if you would like, but I'm probably, yeah, I'm just gonna skip it. Okay, so once again, now that we picked our faction, we need to pick out what exactly our demigod is and what does he bring to the land. So once again, there's a large selection of different things. You do have some people returning, like the Archmage, which is, you know, pretty generic. Those guys are pretty cheap though, as opposed to some of the other guys. Let's see, what else do we have here? So we can get a Divine Serpent, which is a giant serpent, not really good for much in terms of combat, but decent magical spells. What I think I'll be going for is actually either the Lord of the Forest, which is a little bit of a hybrid. He has decent research, decent combat stats for the most part. He can lead a lot of troops, which is good, and he has a nice little bit of a varied magic thing here going on here. Another choice would be the Horn one. Unfortunately, because the game is in beta, some of the things aren't present, and one of them being the description for this guy. He is, well, he's a berserker, so if he gets hit, he can go crazy and just kill a whole bunch of people. But the main thing that I want him is because inside the early game, he has quite a lot of randomly spawning units that he can summon up to his side, which is rather useful, so you do get a few free units like that. What else does he have? Well, he has the research and magic skill, and I think I will, you know what, I think I'll take the Lord of the Forest this time, and I'm going to give him 2 air magic skills in conjunction with his lineup here of 1 nature and 2 original, or sorry, 1 earth and 2 original nature. I'm going to buff that up into 4, and for a Dominion, I'm going to go with 3 Dominion, ton in productivity because getting those extra resources to build new units is good, and I think I'll have 2 in growth, and that will essentially give us a little more income and a little more growth per turn, which is rather nice. So let's begin the game. We're not going to pick ourselves a name, so all praise Robin. Yay. That brings us to the game settings here. I'm not going to go through all of this once again. The only thing that somebody asked about this is the limited unique artifact forging rate, and all of that is that later on inside the game you can forge magical items for your commanders to have, and eventually you could unlock some pretty powerful items, and you can essentially mass produce them if you have enough resources, right? So in order to just kind of stop that and give people who we perhaps generated in a place that doesn't have a lot of magical items more of a fighting chance, you can just kind of limit the amount of unique items that you can make. Okay, so it looks like we've begun over here in a fairly decent area. We're surrounded by towns and a few mountains, and there's already a Throne of Ascension close by, which is good. Oh, there's an iron. There's a little island this time, but it looks like we can get to it fairly easily, so that's good. I believe there's supposed to be 4 Thrones of Ascension. Yeah, there are 4 and 4. Okay, good. Let's begin. Like last time, there's a lot of stuff on the HUD going on. I know it's going to be a little cluttered for the initial part here, but let's just begin. I've talked about all of the HUD elements before in my earlier video, so with that said, if you're a little confused on these things, go check that out. But what we're essentially going to be doing is we're going to be recruiting quite a lot of basic troops. Spearmen and longbowmen are what we need for the early game here, simply because the spearmen, they're decent for the most part in just a bit. They're average in every single way, right? They're not good, not bad. Longbowmen have an amazing range and decent accuracy, and what we're going to be doing is doing the English longbow volley and just spamming arrows at the enemy. In addition, we're going to be recruiting some commanders this time. We're going to be recruiting a few of these Mother of Avalon units. They're fairly expensive, but the reason I want them is because they perform good as casters of magic, and they also have good research. And what the research does is that will be used to unlock new spells for us to use. Last time we took out Evocation, which was essentially offensive spells. You have your stuff like Flare, your lightning bolt, and your stuff like that. But you also have a few unique ones like Sulfur Haze, which is able to create a mist that essentially poisons your enemy. This time we'll be focusing on Alteration, which is essentially buffing and debuffing your units and whatnot. The ones that we're aiming for is Aim, so level 1 Aim. This will make one of our unit more precise. We're going to get False Fetters, which will be able to essentially immobilize enemy units. And then later on, what we want to get is Wind Guide, which is the spell that makes all of our units more accurate. And if we combine that with our longbowmen, you can kind of see that it does add up over time. So with that said, let's just end the turn. Don't recall having to do anything else. Okay, so that's kind of that. We have that Mother of Avalon now, so she's going to do some research for us. Go back into the Recruit Units tab, see what's wrong here. We're going to keep recruiting Mothers of Avalon in our basic set of units here, simply because we do require a lot of troops. And now that that is done, let's get our forces assembled. So let's get our Lord of the Forest here to really take up the fight. So to fully utilize our units, we do have to give them formation orders. So what we're essentially doing here is that inside the battles, we cannot order our troops to do anything. We can issue them formation orders and general commands at the very beginning of the battle. What I'm doing here is that I'm going to get our forces to form one line of spearmen, which are going to hold and attack. So they're going to wait a little bit, then charge. And I'm going to get our archers to stay back and fire their arrows for as long as possible. So that kind of sets us up for that, and then with that force we can hopefully, let's see how many troops we have here. We have 33 units. We can hopefully take over this little town. So let's go with that. And I think I'll get the secondary commander to lead the front, simply because we do need somebody to do that as well. So yeah, another battle happened. Looks like we took 4 losses, and the enemy over here died, which is great news. There's a ton of other troops around here now, but that's fine. So we've captured this province. This province is a border mountains region and a farmland region. A little bit contradicting because one, trade gives us high income and low resources, and on the other hand, the other trade gives it low income and excellent resources. But either way, we get a little bit more of each, and some of that will be essentially forwarded back to our castle here, or fortress, and that'll allow us to build some more units. So it looks like there's a ton Yeah, there's a ton of different neutral faction troops here, and these are essentially just the map guards to prevent you from, making like a ton of expansion really fast. Unfortunately, yeah, there's a ton of them here, so we're going to have to just kind of press up the advance just like that. I think we'll be able to take out these Lion Tribe guys. They, I believe, are fairly easy to kill. Godwin over here, looks like in battle he has discovered a heroic ability. Like I said, all of your commanders have their own little traits and their own little inventory slots here. He is he is ambidextrous, so he has increased attack and defense skills. Well, that's good. He is hopefully going to kick the butts of these Amazon men. Yeah, that was an easy victory. So we're going to grab that right away. Our dominion is our influence is symbolized by the little burning candles, and our provinces are symbolized by the little tree icon here. It looks like we have an enemy fairly close by because his influence is actually spreading inside this province right here. Let's just continue our advance. Let's go over here. So we're just going to map that down. Actually, I should probably map the forest right here because that'll be a little bit easier. And then we don't have to worry about dealing with enemy influences just yet. So we'll do that. We conquered another province. Yeah, just keep repeating recruitment, getting a lot of those Mothers of Avalon to do research for us, and we already have level 1. Perfect. There's a battle inside the forest. Ooh, that cost us a little bit in manpower, so that's not good, but we did seize the forest tile. That's, yeah, that should be fine. What I think I'll do is that, let's get our troops to start moving back now. So I want them to head back a little bit, and I want them to pick up their troops once again so that we can, hopefully advance even further next turn. Inside the early game here with Avalon, you were the one man. You do kind of want to really expand forward fast, simply because you do need a lot of money and a lot of resources. Looks like some of our guys have decided to stay inside the province. Well, that's not good, so we're just going to have to get them back into our little column here, and then we're just going to go back to a fortress where we can essentially reform our troops and get them back on the field. Yeah, 59 people there, so that's good. You generally want like 6 or so mages at the beginning of the game to focus on researching, and once we have that settled, we can focus back onto producing troops. We have a nice little cast of people here, so we should be able to get level 4 alteration in just a little bit. We'll be building more mages later on. It's always nice to have a lot of them, but right now, I mean, we are a little short on infantrymen, so we do need to focus on building them a little bit more. Get these guys to form a double line column, put them in the forward line, and get them to hold an attack once again. Now that we have level 1 of alteration, we can give a few issues for Robin, our demigod. We're going to give him a few orders from the alteration tab to cast at the beginning of the battle. You can essentially schedule up to 5 commands for the first 5 turns, and what we want him to do is we want him to use the false fetters ability here, which will trap a number of limited units on the enemy, making them immobile. We can use aim right now, but to me it's not worth it. Simply, actually we can use enlarge. I think I'll go with enlarge. The reason why it's not, to me, not really worth it is simply because if you want to have a lot of low-level magic casters doing the aim and the false fetters, simply because those ones are generally, they're easy to cast spells. So with that said, we generally want someone like one of these Mothers of Avalon to be constantly inside the front ranks casting those. For now, let's just go forward. Oh wow, yeah, there were some war elephants inside that battle. I want to take a look at that and see how we did. And there we go, so our troops are set up with the troops inside the back here. Lot of bowmen. These bowmen should be picking their targets, and they should be delivering quite a nice little volley. Yeah, you'll see that the volleys are doing quite a little bit of damage. What's happening with the elephants right now is that they were rampaging because they took a little bit of hits. What I think I'll do is that I'll get the spearmen next battle to hit the closest enemy, so hopefully the spearmen next time will be able to keep them locked up while our archers do the majority of the damage. So yeah, that's really just that. Captured another province here. What is over here? Oh, this is just a generic city town, just so happen to have a lot of defenders. Well, in that case, let's go up here and just kind of conquer those guys as well. Let's get our royal forester, which is essentially a scout. There are, once again, 3 different archetypes. Essentially, you have commanders, scouts, and the magic users for the commanders tab. Still building a lot of units. We could get another Mother of Avalon, so I guess we could do that. Yeah, I guess we will go for that. We're going to need a few Crones of Avalon eventually, and that's simply because they can also cast the, what do you call it again, the wind guide thing, but they take a long time to train, and to be fair, they're not really that good. Should be another battle here, yeah. And it looks like we found the enemy over here. You may have noticed that I picked out our faction to have a little bit lower of a Dominion strength. I think we only got 4 Dominion strength, as opposed to last time where we had 6. So yeah, we picked a low Dominion strength simply because as Avalon we can build really cheap tempos, and if we can build a lot of cheap temples which spread our Dominion, we can just, you know, spam a few of those and everything should be fine. Okay, so we're still moving forward. Take a look at the research tab. Things are coming along fine. Get this guy to be researching too. Producing a lot of troops, and we do have a little bit of money, so I think I'll get 1 crone. And crones are slow to recruit, so it'll be 2 turns before she is ready. Let's see what happened here. Another big battle. Bandit Hill. So we took the crown, the throne of Ascension over here. And what we're going to be doing is that we're going to check out this province for a little bit. So this province is a border mountains region that will generate a lot of resources for us. But the main thing is that it has 2 different things here. So it has the Throne of Ice, which will produce some gems for us. It'll spread Dominion, and blessed troops get cold resistance. It also has a Great Iron Mine, which will produce a lot of resources for us. So this might actually be a good place to build another fortress and then recruit units from there, but actually it looks like a ton of resources do head back to us, so I don't think that'll be necessary. It's late enough inside the game now that we can kind of just refocus our production so that we'll train out a few town guards as opposed to spearmen. And yeah, the reason because of that is that these bow archer guys, they do 16 damage with their bows, so quite a lot. The reason that we need spearmen was that they kept the front lines nice and tidy inside the beginning of the game, and they were essentially meat shields. So these tower guards, they cost 13 gold, they have 11 hit points, 10 or 13 protection, and 10 strength. The spearmen, I believe, yeah, they have less protection, so they won't be able to take as many hits, and yeah, they also have slightly less armor, not to mention that they probably don't have the same amount of armor either. So that's kind of that. We're going to go back to our capital and pick up a few more troops, and in the meantime we'll get our scout here to advance ever further. And we'll be building a few provincial defense, and this is just essentially assigning a passive militia into one of our hexes, and what that does is that that'll give us a troop there which will essentially defend that province and only that province. Ooh, looks like there's another faction here, and there was a battle inside Grey Mountains over here, and it looks like we found the other faction. Let's go back to the army setup. We need a lot more pikemen for our front lines along with these tower guards, and a lot more archers for the back ranks. There we go. And what I think I'll do is that I'll get these guys to hold an attack, but get them to attack the closest enemies first, just like that. So that should give us a nice little group there. And we have also recruited that crone of Avalon. Unfortunately, these guys, the main thing about them is that while they have good stats overall, they come with a certain penalty. They have old age by default, so that'll lower their stats, and they always have afflictions when they start. You can get battle wounds by obviously fighting in battle, And these guys already start with them, right? So yeah, this guy has Never Healing Wound, which takes quite a lot of HP out of him, and he has also poor morale, which is rather unfortunate. So I think what I'll do is that I'll come this way, and then we are probably going to establish a fortress inside one of these tiles, because we don't want these guys over here. So we're going to go back out onto the warpath and just kind of stop on them, and then I guess we'll do a little bit more researching in the back. So that should give us, yeah, that should give us level 4 alteration in a little bit. Let's push forward. Let's push forward indeed, and I think I'll get Godwin to follow up with this little convoy of troops, and he's just going to build a fortress somewhere. In the meantime, we're going to check out if we can get a few more Mothers of Avalon to really hasten up that research. There was a fight here that took care of that area, and it looks like we've identified the enemy's capital, which is good. What that means is that we can get our guys here to conquer the rest of these provinces. I'm going to put some more to provincial defense. These militiamen, they are both good and bad. On one hand, you can build a ton of troops instantaneously. On the other, your troops are probably going to be fairly bad, but if your opponent does not conquer that tile on that turn, if it fights them, then you essentially end up with a militia that just keeps on respawning over and over and over and over and over again. Oh, we have a lot more people doing research, which is good. We're going to buy another commander this turn, so then we can have another lackey essentially doing a troop convoy. So one guy's going to be bringing a lot of troops up to the front, and Robin is going to be pressing ever further into the enemy's lands over here. And it looks like we're going to need another commander to deal with that army from neighboring rival. Yeah, there's battle here. So let's get that army set up once again. So get them set up just like that. Your commanders can only command a limited amount of troops based upon how much experience he has. So this guy can only command 80 troops, so he can't take all of these guys with him, which is a little unfortunate. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a few more bowmen back into the reserve or the garrison, get a few more tower guards. Let's get the bowmen to do once again fire at distance. Get these guys, the tower guards, to hold an attack nearest enemies, and then in conjunction with him, because we did buy a few more Mothers of Avalon, they will be doing the majority of the research, so then we can get Lebercham over here to follow our army, and then what she will do is that she'll cast a few spells herself, and she will cast Wind Glide, which will definitely help us out. So Wind Glide, I believe, lasts, it does not last, let's see, affects the entire battlefield, fatigue cost 100, air gems required 1. So what we'll do is that we will do that, and then we need to equip her with some magic gems. It looks like that spell is actually quite labor intensive, so let's see, are these air gems? Yes, they are. I'm gonna give her 10 air gems to carry with her. That should give her 10 rounds of using that spell, and she'll move the army over there. How fatigue works in that is that some spells are rather iffy to cast in that they take fatigue. I mean, they're obviously a little strainful on the body. So how the fatigue system works is that I believe if you go further than 100 fatigue, your commander will essentially pass out, which is obviously not a good thing. So to just kind of limit that, as our faction, as a man, we actually get a few specialty research, or a few specialty spells here. I believe they are inside this tab right here. No, they might be enchantment. Yeah, they are inside enchantment. They get the Soothing Song here, which will invigorate nearby casters and nearby friendly units, which will essentially lower their fatigue. So what we can do is that Lebercham here can probably only cast that guiding wind attack once, which is not that great, obviously. But if we have a few Mothers of Avalon beside her casting that soothing spell, she might be able to cast at least one more before she passes out. Likewise, over here we're going to get Robin, our demigod, to also cast Wind Guide, and that should allow us to really drive forward. In the meantime, we're going to be building a fortress here just to kind of secure this area. And over here, let's see. Let's get a few more Mothers of Avalon, simply because we can right now. And let's build a few more units just like that, and I'll get these guys to come down here and fight a big war. So that'll be the end of this turn, and let's actually watch one of these battles here. So over here, the Lord of the Forest just devastates whatever's there, and over here, this will be a good battle to watch. How many troops did we lose? Oh, barely anything, and we killed a ton of them, so this would mean that we're doing good. One thing that we should note is that the enemy here, they have a few undead troops, and bows don't exactly work very well on undead troops, but I guess because we do have that bonus of Wind Guide, we were able to hit them a little better. So yeah, this volley should be able to hit a little more accurately. But they do have a lot of these ghouls and skeleton people over here, which may influence how our volleys do. Let's check out Libertram, the Crone of Avalon. She can probably cast one or two more. Let's see. Yeah, if fatigue exceeds 100, the unit falls dazed or unconscious and is unable to move. Fatigue can even be death for people, so yeah. And our tower guards are just going to come up, hit the nearest opponents, and keep them locked up in combat. It'd be nice if we got a few barrages on the militia there. That would be really, really nice. Because yeah, those ghouls and these long dead, they're pretty, yeah, I believe they're skeleton people, so we can't really get really good hits on them with our bows. Likewise, all the weapons are essentially put on this table where like axes and swords and whatnot do like different amounts of damage to different people with different armor and whatnot. Okay, so that's that battle. And that'll pretty much keep them at bay for now. Oh, it looks like the fourth faction is an aquatic race, so we probably don't have to worry about them for the next little bit. We can actually siege the enemies' fortress here. They probably only have one. Yeah, the province contains about 20 units. Our commander should be able to smash right through that, so we're going to get him to go there. And over here, inside the rear, we've already did a few basic spell combinations. Let's see if we can do a few more. So I'm going to get one of our people here. We already have another Mother of Avalon, so that should be fine. I'm going to get one to come out here, and she's going to go with this army to essentially assist them in fighting. She can actually bring in a few reinforcements to help out because she's been you know, just kind of sitting here for a little bit. So she is going to have her own little line of tower guards, and those are going to be in the front once again. They're not going to get a lot of a good morale increase simply because they're being led by not an official commander, unfortunately. Ooh, a random event happened, and we had a few battles. Okay, well, let's see what happened. So we are pushing here. A battle did happen, and what happened was that I believe the something happened here. I have to figure out what though. Oh, I see what happened. I believe we lost one of our command. Yeah, I believe we lost the Lord of the Forest. I'm not sure. I don't know how to happen. Yeah, now our bowmen are getting quite a few good hits on them now. So that's kind of that. But one of the things is that at the Battle of Python, did we lose our Lord of the Forest? Oh, I see. Yeah, he died unfortunately to some of these guys. Unfortunately, that happened. But we do have a large amount of troops here now, just kind of sieging the enemy's fortress. If your demigod dies, you can essentially resurrect him using your priests. So yeah, you can call God, and you know, if you have a lot of priests, you can essentially bring him back. Although I believe he will have a few inflictions or affections on him. So what we're going to do is that we're going to recruit a lot more priests, and well, we already have all the research that we really need right now. Of course, it would be better to have more, but right now I believe we need a glorious commander back, so we will get all of them to, instead of research, we're going to get them to call God, and that should essentially resurrect him in a little bit. So if you lose your commander, it's not the end of the world. Personally, man is a little bit of a weaker race in terms of their troops. Another battle happened inside Petrim, and it looks like we won that. I think I'll get Lofric, the knight who just kind of decided to show up, to go over there, and hopefully they got pushed back. Lebechem's forces over here are going to advance and hopefully get this castle under our control. So they're going to all advance. What we're going to do here is issue some battle orders for our Avalon mother here. So she'll hold one turn, and then she will cast Wind Guide. So then we have 2 turns of that, and then she'll hold a few more turns, and then cast Wind Guide again. And yeah, and then that should be fine. She should, we need to give her a few magical gems as well, so we are going to have to switch them up. She is going to have to give out a few of hers. Yeah, there we go, just like that. So that'll keep them going. With that said, they are all going to advance over there. And over here, we're going to have to fix the situation, which should take a little bit. Yeah, so fight at Gela. Probably gonna win that. Take that over, and now we essentially have to siege the settlement. So let's get the army to maintain siege, and alternatively I believe we can assault the place, but I really don't know. The fort is under siege. I think I'll just leave them there to siege the place for now. I'll get one more commander from the rear summoned up, so that we can hopefully get our troops over here back onto the front and back into the fight. And yeah, that'll happen. We have a secondary. Oh, that's right. Godwin is still available. Godwin has finished building his little fortress here, and this fortress will give us another recruiting tab. And I think what I'll get here is that I'll get them to start building a few Knights of Man, which are really heavy infantry, or cavalry. Sorry, they have a lot of protection, a lot of strength, and a lot of different weapons that they can use to really dish a lot of that damage onto the battlefield. Unfortunately, they are hellishly expensive. The main purpose of building fortresses, I mean, obviously you can use them as defensive settlements, but another useful thing that they can do is that they have the benefit of being able to recruit more commanders, and like I've said before, you can generally only recruit 1 commander per turn, and obviously if you can essentially, these guys should be firing keeping distance at the closest enemies. These guys should be holding and attacking. Yeah, just like that. What was I saying again? Alright, essentially what you can do with the stuff, with your troops. You know what? I just forgot what I was going to say. You know what? I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, we're just going to have to leave it like that. We are calling God here, which will hopefully get him ready in a little bit. Edmund is going to rally whatever troops is over here. Holy crap, we have a lot of longbowmen. He's going to take up that section. He's just going to get them to hold and attack, or no, fire and keep distance, and he's going to bring those troops up over here. Hopefully Edmund can move 2 turns, or 2 movement squares per turn, but unfortunately he can't. Some units can. So, we're just going to continue sieging that fortress. That should fall in like a little bit. And this should be able to bring up our Knights of Man, and then we should be able to go back on the sieging track. I'm going to try to eliminate my our enemies here by just kind of taking them out this time, really. Yeah, just like that, recruit another commander so then we can deal with these raiding parties. A good technique that you can do is that instead of just fighting battles with big armies, you generally want to have a supply train set up, so then you have one or two commanders rallying troops from the rear and bringing those troops forward, and then you want to have another one that is essentially doing one, like keeping one major army alive, and you want to have another one which essentially goes around and raids the enemy by attacking them repeatedly with a small expendable force. Have a lot of tower guards, so we'll give him the tower guards, and we will get them to yeah, I think I'll get them to raid this guy. It looks like over here they are assembling a large force of 180 souls over there. They are only going to be able to come out of that province, so let's get our archers ready for a fight there, and hopefully we will have Robin back next turn. Troops in the Grey Mountains are starting to starve. Okay, yeah, we have a lot more troops than the amount inside province, so we're going to solve that. We have all of our guys' orders issued, so that's good. With that said, let's get these cavalry out inside the frame, onto the flanks, and we're just going to get them to pile up on one of the undead's forces, just like that. And oh yes, Robin is back. Robin is back, so we have our demigod back now. But unfortunately, because he died in battle, he does have this battle wounds thing, so he is limp. Unfortunately, he's not going to be on the front lines, so he's more or less a caster, so that's not that big of an issue for me. He is going to go right out onto the fray with his archers and his tower guards once again. I'm not going to issue him any formation orders just yet, simply because we don't necessarily need to right now. Can we build a few more cav here? No, they still don't have enough resources. So yeah, this fortress should fall under our control now a little bit. Right now, it's just going to be pressing forward on the front over here. So it looks like we did manage to take that over. Get these guys, Robin, push forward, you push forward, and the aquatic people looks like they're starting to come on land. So let's actually view this giant battle over here. So Grey Mountains was conquered. What is this province called? High Peaks. Okay, so we had to go into the read messages tab, find High Peaks. And there were no forces there. Let's see, where was another massive battle? I think we'll do something like that and just spread out. It looks like purple and deeper shade of purple are fighting each other right now in the places that we can't see. I think our scout is still here, so we'll get him to advance. I think we'll continue sieging the fortress and really go from there. Can we recruit any more units from here? Yes, we can. Oh wait, no, I deleted my my auto recruit for some reason, but that's okay. We'll just put that back. And all of these priests are essentially just going to go back to researching and whatnot. What we'll do is that we'll actually switch our research back into evocation, so we will be getting a few more of those spells out, and once that's up to a decent level, we will essentially push out and fight the enemy with our large amount of people over here. So we're going to get all of them to research for now. And this fortress will hopefully be done in a few turns, right? I mean, it has supply storage of 500 right now. Yeah, we can storm the castle actually, which is probably a better idea. So we're going to storm that and take that over by force. And this should be interesting. So, battle inside the Grey Mountains. Did we win? Our forces were beaten, so no. An unexpected thing happened inside our place, so yeah, that happened. Our force laying siege won. There was a battle in Oma. There was a battle in the force of something. And let's just view the siege battle, really. Where was that again? Great Pharaoh, so let's view that. Oh, Rambas. that's the undead. That's the undead legion. We're probably not going to be able to get a few good hits on them with our archers, but from what it said, I mean, we won against them pretty easily. What I was interested in is inside that siege battle, which is this is the siege battle. Okay, so let's view this one, and that should be essentially that. Yeah, and you also have a nice little gate here and whatnot. It's rather nice. Damn these undead! We cannot hit them with our bows. That's another easy battle for us. That's pretty much that. Okay, well, I think I'll actually end the episode right here, simply because, man, well, we were able to show, like, you know, basic spells and stuff and such, and synergies with your units with spells, but for the most part, man, it's a fairly weak faction. So, with that said, we'll be taking a little bit more of a look onto it later on. For now, we're just going to kind of leave off here. Anyways, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Next time, I think we'll take a look at some more advanced magic, and probably one of the factions that do a little bit of summoning. That'd be kind of cool. See you guys then.